What up, everybody? It's your boy Joey,
And just shy.
and this is the Use Your Power podcast. And today we're going to be talking about a real hot topic. Well, it's always a hot topic, but
Right.
dating. When are your standards just a little too high? That's what we're going to be talking
Unrealistic.
about tonight.
Right. Okay. Joseph, are you ready for this? So,
Stay ready.
the hot topic was this young lady went on a date, her first date with this guy who she doesn't know. He took her to the Cheesecake Factory, and when he comes to open her door to get out, to let her out, she locked the door and wouldn't get out. And he's asking her, like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you getting out? And she was like, do you see me? Do you see this outfit? I look too good to go to the Cheesecake Factory. So he was like, okay, let's talk about it. So he gets back in the car and she proceeds to film him, and she's explaining how her standards are high. She doesn't go on to Cheesecake Factory on the first day. She looks too good to be in the Cheesecake Factory. She goes on and on and on and on. And then, of course, the guy had his words, but we'll get into his words later. So then, prior or after that, after this whole video blew up, there's a meme going out on social media. Black Twitter is just like the best. And it's a list of things that men should never take a woman on a first date. So Cheesecake
Places,
Factory is
right?
number right. Cheesecake Factory is number one. Then you have Applebee's, Chili's, Chipotle, Olive Garden, the movies, your house, any fast food chain, Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, Red Lobster, a buffet, IHOP, Denny's, the gym, Starbucks, coffee dates, ice cream dates, family functions, movie night, Netflix, Hulu, etc. Somewhere that requires a long drive, bowling, nightclubs, hookah bars, a bar for just drinks, Waffle House, and sporting events. So there goes into the topic of when are your standards a little bit too high? And let's discuss this. So I want to hear your point of view as a man of the foolishness. And obviously, you already know which way I'm going because I'm saying the foolishness.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like I read the list and I laughed. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of it's got to be a bit of a facetious thing. It's like y'all can't be serious because I know y'all ain't eating at Mastro's and Boa and Nobu and what I'm saying, Roof Chris or wherever. Y'all ain't eating at all these places, STK and what I'm saying? I know y'all not eating at these places every time you go out to eat. It's like, oh, I'm either eating there or I'm cooking at home. No, you're not. No,
Right,
you're not. And
right,
my whole thing is like, why do you put that expectation on a man if you're not eating there every single time? And it's like, well, he's, like the whole video, it's like, well, he, like, oh, he's courting me. You're supposed to court me. And if you watch a follow-up to that, like her and a guy did an interview, and this chick is basically saying, well, I was raised that a man is supposed to court me, and if I want him to take me somewhere, he's supposed to take me, and if I want something, he's supposed to buy it for me. And I'm like,
mm.
all sorts of words came to my mind that I can't say as a saint of the Most High God, but it's like this woman is crazy. She
WWID.
it's oh my for real WWID, and so I'm like, bruh. I'm like, go ahead, sweetheart, and I'm gonna tell you what you do. You buy you a dog and you enjoy his company because that is the only thing you will ever be with that
Ooh.
mentality. She's not, first of all, this woman in particular, she ain't bad enough to be out here talking crazy. But I'm not gonna start on that. I'm not
Pause. No, let's start on that because a
no,
lot of women. No, I
but
want to
I'm gonna
say
get I'm gonna
something.
give fingers. I'm gonna give fingers pointing. See,
No, because I agree with you. Because some women were like, well, first of all, your outfit is cheesecake ready. So they were saying like your outfit wasn't even on the level of anything outside of the Cheesecake Factory. So she put emphasis on her outfit, but it was nothing extravagant, nothing like it
Hey,
deserves
her
more.
outfit looked real Shein. You know what I'm saying? That's what her It's like, sweetheart,
Shout out to
that's
Shein
not even
though. No shade, but shout out to Shein
no
because they the
shade, but
bomb.
Shein ain't department store. Shein, it's just regular, right?
Right.
It's not special, but it's not even Macy's. It's like, come
Ooh.
on, dude. It's you not even Macy's out here, and you over here acting like Cheesecake Factory is too good. But
Okay.
it's
Okay, so
crazy to
let's
me.
go into the first date though. The
Okay.
expectation of a first date. Do you think that she was doing too much for their first date?
Yes, 122,000%. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. For I'm gonna be real with you. Looking at him, he seems like a really nice guy. He seems like a genuinely nice dude. And you know what they
Yes.
say about nice guys? They
Finish
finish
last.
last. And that's
Yes.
unfortunate, especially, considering like this being a whole church podcast. It's like they shouldn't finish last.
Right.
The misconceptions about what it means to be a nice guy, it's like, look, that doesn't always mean pushover. Some guys are just not hyper aggressive. Some guys are just go with the flow. They don't, it's not, because I don't choose where I go eat or where we go eat all the time, it doesn't mean that I'm weak or I don't have a voice of my own. It's just maybe in that instance, maybe it's something that I don't care that much about, right? It's not a
Right.
big deal to me if we go out to eat where we go. I'm not picky. Maybe if we go to the movies, I don't care what genre. I'm not a huge movie goer. I don't care what we go see. There are people that are like that, but
Mm-hmm.
do I take care of my responsibilities? Am I, mature, and am I grounded, and am I, things like that, like stuff that actually matters when it comes to a relationship, which is if you're dating, if you're courting, as she put it,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that what should matter? That's what
Right.
should matter. It's like those things should matter, not where necessarily where he takes you. But then let me say this.
Say it. Make it plain.
If he was if she thought he was fine, she would have gotten out of that car.
Mm.
110%. If she thought, "Ooh, girl," like if it was one of them, girl, listen. If it was one of those moments,
Wait,
if he was
rewind
one of
it.
those, huh?
I need a
Girl,
replay.
listen. Like if it was one of them, if he was one of those dudes,
Right.
she's getting out of that car, right? Let's just tell the
Absolutely.
truth. But he's not
Absolutely.
one of those dudes. He's just a nice guy. She honestly, I feel like from the whole thing that I got, she got a sucker. And that's why I think her tune kind of
Mm.
changed when he was like, "All right, I'm gonna just take you home then, because you done messed up." I
Right.
feel like she was like, "Well, wait," because she wasn't expecting him to the terminology that's coming to my
Put
head
his
I can't
foot
use
down.
WWID.
Right.
So it's like when he decided to say, okay, that's good, I'm straight. Like I'm just we gonna go home, right? I'm gonna take you home and I'm gonna be on by my business. She was a little surprised because I really feel like she just felt like I got a sucker.
And she can push
He's
over
he's a
and
nice
right.
guy. Yeah, he's a pushover. So um she's definitely getting out of that car if she felt like he was like that guy.
Okay, so one of the things that came to mind was when she said, and it was like a contradiction because she was like, "I don't even know you." So my thing was, if you don't,
But you want him to take you
if
somewhere
you don't
fancy.
know this
Okay.
person and they're getting to know you, he came back with like, "Well, I don't know you either. So why do you expect me to take you somewhere that I'm getting to know you?" So when you're getting to know someone, I feel like me personally, getting to know someone doesn't necessarily have to be a dinner date. It could be a coffee date. It could be a
It should be.
man, go on a walk, like talk. Cause I think that part of the problem is, and this is a whole nother topic, but we don't get to know people well enough because we're too caught up on the what can they do for me, you know? So I was like, oh, he stood up for himself because he was like, I don't even know you. Like, you tripping.
Well, the whole thing was her fault. Like he had a reservation, he said, for 5 o'clock, and he was there at 4. And they had more than enough time, according to him, to get there. They were going to get there early if she's on time, but she's an hour late. So she's walking out of her place that she wouldn't let him in because she didn't know him. She walks out of there at the time they're supposed to be at the restaurant.
Mm.
So it's her fault. And according to him, this is not the kind of restaurant you just walk into. So it's her fault that they end up at Cheesecake Factory in the first place. But it's
Mm.
like, but that I really feel like that's beside the point. It's like the point is like you diss this dude because he took you to the Cheesecake Factory. It's a chain restaurant, as she put it. And it's like, so
Right.
it's like, dude, you can spend some bread at Cheesecake Factory, especially, for the folks that drink, not and we here Power Apostolic do not condone drinking.
Hallelujah.
But for those but those that do, it's like you easily walk out of Cheesecake Factory and spending a couple $100 easily.
Right.
And it's like that's nothing to sneeze at on a date. Like just for dinner, I'm gonna pay 200. It's like, come on, man. Like I'm a cheapskate kind of. And when I go out with a woman for the first time, most of the time she gonna get the two C's: coffee and conversation. That's what she gonna get. It's like I don't want to go out with you. I don't want to have like I won't say that I haven't. Sometimes like I've gone out with women in the last year or so that live far,
Mm-hmm.
Lancaster, Riverside, San Bernardino, Redlands. It's like we're not gonna drive all of this way
For
just to
coffee.
drink coffee,
Right.
right? So I'll make exceptions for things like that just because of the distance. But if it's within 30 minutes or so, if we're within the same within the city together, we gonna do coffee. We gonna sit down and we gonna talk. And it's like, if I can't do that, then why are you expecting so much? Like, I'm here to get to know you. Like, do I want to go on an actual date with you? Do I want
Right.
to go
It's
out
almost like
and
a
have
tryout
dinner? And
before the date.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like, come on, man. Like, I think people, and let's just this is tell it like it is. I think women are missing a point. And the point is to get to know the person. And you're not going to get to know them based on the restaurant they take you to.
Right.
If I take you to a restaurant, it doesn't mean that I have money. It
Right.
doesn't mean that
I'm gonna treat you
it
right.
doesn't. It can mean I just got a credit card. It's like it doesn't mean I have money. It doesn't mean that I'm genuinely interested in
Right.
you. It doesn't mean that I want a relationship or marriage. It just means I'm willing to invest a few bucks in taking you to dinner to get what I want. You still don't know what I want.
And what about the men who can afford all that and she gets what she
Hmm.
wants, but they treat her like crap? So then it's like, okay, you got the Mastros, you got the Nobu, you got all this, but they just some dogs. But this is what you wanted because you don't do Cheesecake Factory. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So
Well,
just
let's say that.
because he has money and he can take you to those places doesn't mean that you're going to be treated like you want to be treated too. So
But I will say this: the flip side to that is broke dudes will dog you out too,
absolutely,
right? So, um, broke dudes will dog you
absolutely.
out too.
But I'm saying,
So,
like, to make her
um,
point, that was a nice guy. And to me, what if, okay, let's just say this. What if that man really had money? And this is like a test run. Like, let me see what her mindset is. Almost like coming to America. Like, I'm putting on this front. I want to see what she
right.
got going on, what her mindset is. If she stimulates my mind, that's her conversation. Is conversation good? Do it flow? How she as a woman, is she going to be a good mother? Whatever the case may be. And she ended up missing her blessing because she was being shallow.
Well, then it wasn't her blessing, now was it?
Well,
I mean, my whole thing is again having them being able to take a woman to those kind of places is cool, but you got men with money that'll dog you out, and you got men that are broke that'll dog you out. The point is again to get to know the person. That's what you want to do. And the only thing, the best way to get to know that person is to converse with them, right? You talk on the phone. I know a lot of people nowadays want to FaceTime you first and all this other stuff. Um, but the point is conversation. The less involved a date is, the better, right? The more active you are on a date, the more things there are to do, the less you're conversing.
right.
And if you're not talking, then you're not really getting to know that person. And one thing that I've told a lot of women that I've had these types of conversations with, is that get him to talk. one of the things that I've had so many women that I've been in relationships with in the past, they all pretty much tell me it's like, you're a talker. It's like you're so much different because you actually talk. Most guys don't talk. And I'm like, see, that's the mistake you guys make, assuming that men don't talk. Men talk a lot. They just don't talk to women when they're dating a lot of times,
Mm.
especially when they really don't want anything. When they really don't want anything, they're gonna be an ear for you to just run your mouth into, and you're gonna give them all the game, and then they're gonna figure out how to play, and then they're gonna get what they want, and then you got dogged out
You
again.
sure
Why?
you
Because
want
you were
to?
just, oh, he was so nice and he just listened and he took me out and you just all too happy to yap 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 yap, giving him the game, and now he know how to play you. It's like, get that man to talk.
You sure you want to give us the cheat sheet? You sure you ain't
It's
betraying the
it's to
men?
me, it's not even betraying the men. It's like it's like I'm not pulling a Steve
Steve
Harvey out
Harvey,
here.
right?
I'm telling women, like, look, if you want something, then you got to get him to talk. You have to figure out who you're dealing with. Women are the ones out here, not that guys don't get played, but women
Right.
out here getting played.
The
They're the ones
most.
crying and complaining about it.
Right.
So it's like, look, stop worrying about where that man is taking you and start worrying about who that man is. And the only way you're going to get to know who that man is if you talk to him and get him to talk to you.
So when you said stop worried about where that man is taking you, in my mind I was like, but you need to worry about where that man's taking you. And if you really understand what I'm saying, read between the lines. And I'm not talking about a restaurant. Because if that man
Okay.
is a horrible man, he's gonna take you to horrible places. So yeah, I get it. Okay, so now let's go to the men's their list. Cause then I was like, okay, now this is doing too much. And I feel like part of it was being very facetious, but at the same time, it's like, do y'all almost slipped up? Do y'all men really? I was gonna say another word.
Do y'all?
Do y'all men really think like this? Like, okay, so I want you to read the list that the men had on there.
Okay. So here's the list. The group of men make a list of the kinds of women, in quotes, you should never take on a date. Number one, single
That's
mothers.
me.
Number two, Number two, women with tattoos. Number three, women who dress like this in public. Number four, sex workers, i.e., OnlyFans girls, mattress actresses, strippers, call girls, escorts, Instagram models, bottle girls, etc. Number five, women with an IG
That's
page.
me.
Number six, women with non-ear piercings. Number seven, women with purple hair or any other unnatural
That's
color.
me.
Number eight, women with whole friends. Number nine, models, quote unquote, who market to men. Number 10, women who travel regularly. Number 11, women who drink liquor regularly. Number 12, women with weak or absentee fathers. Number 13, women who live
That's
alone.
me.
Number 14, women with a party voice, quote unquote. Number 15, women on dating apps. Number
Wow.
16, women who have been on Fresh and Fit. Number 17, women with lists, quote unquote. Number 18, women who have been engaged. Number 19,
That's
divorcees.
me.
Number 20, American
That's
black
me.
women. Ooh, Lord. 21, women raised in the West.
Oh,
Lord
I'm
have
raised. I'm
mercy.
from the West
So that's
Side. I
basically,
have seven things
so
on
that's
that list.
basically, well, the West as in America. So
All
that's
right.
basically that was the way to eliminate all women in America. You know what I'm saying? So So yeah, that's rough. I know that was just I'm sure they were being facetious, right? It
Right.
was just a joke, but it's interesting that the initial where to not take a woman on a date list is probably upset a few dudes, and they were like, oh, okay, well,
Let's do our
don't date
own.
these women.
Okay, what is the
Right.
women who live alone? What is that about?
That was on the list.
Yes, number 13.
No, I didn't say women who live alone, did it?
Women who live alone is number
Oh,
13.
women who live alone. Wow.
I'm like,
I don't
so we
know.
supposed to be living with our moms, our grandmas? Like, what's going on with that?
I mean, personally, I don't care. You know, as long as she's able to take care of herself. Like the last relationship I was in, she actually was living with her parents
Okay.
when I met her, and she was living with them for about 2 years. And then after that point, she ended up buying herself a condo.
Oh,
So it wasn't like she was,
just being a bum.
just being a bum. She just was staying at her parents, stacking her money in so she could buy her own place.
Okay.
So I don't personally, as a man, I don't really care about that, to be honest.
Okay.
As long as she's
So
not a
going
bum,
back to the
so to speak.
topic, the
Okay,
standards being too high. So do you think that was even a standard, or that was just I can't
that's
even
just silliness.
I can't even classify that as a standard.
Why would it's not? That's definitely a joke.
So
It's got to be.
this is my question though. When is it being ridiculous? Of course, she's being ridiculous, but when is standards being too high? Because is it wrong for a woman? And I'm gonna just play the devil's advocate. I even hate that term, but is it wrong for a woman to want a man of certain? See, I wish Kevin Samuels was here because he would have ran her through the dirt. Like
Ooh,
he would have ran her
Lord
through the
have
dirt. I
mercy.
was like, dang man. Okay, so one is doing too much, too much. Where do we draw the line where it's like, okay, you want to make sure you don't just have, like you said, you don't want to bum, but at the same time, you don't want to be doing too much.
Bum.
Where's the fine line?
Um. So who am I, or who are you, or who are any of us to tell another person what their standards should or shouldn't be?
Right.
Right. These are all opinions. I'm going to preface what I say with that. Personally, I feel that the standards that people hold, they're thinking about the wrong things. Right. It always boils down to financial and material. Right. There isn't enough focus on character. And then if they do care about character, a lot of times it's character that is conducive to finance. Like, oh, is he ambitious? Is he a go? Things like that. It's not. It isn't like, is he nice? Is he kind? Is he giving? Is he generous? Is he family oriented? Is he in the streets? Is he a smoker? Is he a drinker? Does he do drugs? What kind of vices does he have? Like, is he self-sufficient? Is he independent? Is he hardworking? What kind of person is he? What kind of man is he really? Money doesn't necessarily define who you are, right? It does. Well, it does not define who you are. Now, is is money important? Absolutely. Like the Bible says, to get to the scriptures, money answereth all things. But in context of the scriptures, money answers all things that money can actually answer. Money obviously can't answer all things, and just going to the example of Simon in the book of Acts trying to buy the laying on of hands. So it's like money can't answer every single thing, but money can answer a lot. Money can make your life comfortable. The lack thereof can make your life difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So money's important, right? It's like Pastor Swansea used to always say, we're not preaching poverty necessarily, right?
Mm-hmm.
But money shouldn't be the main focus. You know, I feel like, is he, again, back to, is he independent? Does he take care of himself? Is he responsible? Does he pay his bills on time? If he has children, does he take care of his children? Do they live with him? Do they live with the mother? Is he actively involved? Does he provide for them financially and emotionally and all these different ways? Like, what kind of these are things that speak to the kind of person he is. And again, if he could be just bereft of any positive characteristics, but he took you to a fancy restaurant, he drove a really nice car, he has a really good job, makes good money, let's say six figures, he has a nice place, um, but he's irresponsible, he's a player, um, he'll take you nice places, but then, you know oh yeah, he got money, but he doesn't pay his bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
He has a child out of wedlock who he doesn't see that often and isn't all that involved in his life or her life, the child's life. It's like, what kind of relationship does he have with his family?
Mm.
Did he grow up with both parents in the home or not? What kind of relationship does he have with his mother? Is his father around? What these are all important things. If going to the Christian side of it, is he a man of God? You know, does he read the word? Does he pray? Does he act on the things he says he believes? Right? That's important because people are paying attention to that.
Right.
I have one thing I've noticed in my own personal experience, um, dating, in recent memory. I'm very I'm very serious about my salvation. Now, I was not always like that,
Okay.
right? I was cutting up, acting a fool. I'm not gonna sit up here in front like I've always been
Father
on the up and up on the
God.
oh
Right.
no, right? I was being a heathen, I was fornicating and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is that dating, when you're serious about the things of God, these women will eliminate themselves from your life very quickly.
Mm.
It does not take long because they're like, oh man, he's serious,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, oh, he says that, yeah, I go to church all the time. I go to church regularly and I go to Bible class and, I'm in ministry and this, that, and the other. Oh man, you really do a lot of stuff in church, right? Not a big deal. But then it's like, oh man,
He for real.
he ain't trying to he not trying to sleep with me. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what, he's not pressing me for sex. He's not pressing me for physical contact. Like, wait, he's serious. And it's like, oh, hey, I'm teaching Bible class. And then they see it, it's like, oh, he for real. Like,
Ooh.
you wait, it's not a game?
No.
It's not, you not a
No
hypocrite?
games.
Ooh, am I ready for this?
Nope.
And then they start, I've seen it. They start questioning themselves. It's like, do I really? He's a really nice guy, and I like him, and he's da 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 da. But then it's like, but do I want Jesus?
It's funny you said that because a lot of men have walked away from me specifically for that reason. They like, oh, she's like for real. Like, and the sad part is, can I tell you a secret? The sad part is, it's some in the church who walked away because I'm serious and they're not. But
Really?
we're not gonna get on that. And we've
No,
discussed
no, hold
this.
on.
We've
We
dis-
gonna get on that.
we've
It's
discussed
dudes in the church,
we've discussed this. We're not gonna we talked about this. That's a
but
sidebar.
we haven't discussed this. No, let's talk about this because this is part. Is this part of it? We might have to do a whole other show on
Yeah.
that
Okay. And I'm
because
saying
that
that
needs to be
because
discussed.
it's some of us who, like you said, you have not always been living right. I have not always been living right, right? It is what it is. We're not always where we're supposed to be spiritually. But it's some of us where our spiritual walk is just on different levels. And I've encountered some men who are saved and just spiritual walks on different levels. And because I'm not giving up the cookie, it's like, oh, she's for real. Like,
The
I
cookie.
can't be messing with
The
her because
cookie.
she's serious. And if I do end up being with her, I have to step up my game because she's not playing in these streets. So, and it's unfortunate because as a woman of God, it's like, Lord, I'm living right. I'm doing this, doing that. I'm doing what you're telling me to do. And these men are supposed to be doing the same thing. But because I'm not, you know, loosey goosey, it's like, yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready to have one foot. It's like one foot in, one foot out. They're not ready to be all in. So it's like they straddle on the fence and Shay is serious, but I'm straddling the fence. So, I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what they're really not ready for? Well, see, when they're already in the church, if they're like that, if you know, they're really just not ready for a relationship. They're not ready for
I wouldn't say
marriage.
that.
That's the
No,
truth.
no, it's not.
Well,
Because somebody
well,
has gotten married. I wouldn't say that at all. and
So they
and
they
married
they
someone who's
kicked you
not
to the
saved.
curb and married somebody else.
Who's not saved. So what I'm saying
So
is,
they ain't really with us then.
there we go.
I mean, that's it. So I don't think it necessarily changes my point. Maybe they're ready for marriage, but they ain't really part of us. So it's different. Like if you, it doesn't make sense if you, unless he just was not interested in you genuinely and all he wanted was sex, then that's something different. Because there are guys, even in the church, that's all they want is sex.
Absolutely.
So maybe that also could have been the case. I don't know, but that is definitely odd. Um, but yeah, I mean, the whole church dynamic, look, sisters of the Most High God, y'all stop being funny style and being like the Cheesecake Factory woman. Y'all
Hold on. Let
figure
me
out
defend my
who
sisters
these
right
men
quick. Let
are.
me defend my sisters right quick. Because your
Ain't
point
nothing
was
to defend. I ain't throwing
your
shots.
point was valid as far as like making sure the man has his head on straight. We worried about the wrong things. But that can go both ways as far as the men. All the men is worried about is sex and how a woman looks physically. Where hold on, how she looks
Okay.
physically does not determine what kind of wife she's gonna be at all. You have fine women out there who can't cook, who can't read, who can't pay a bill, who house is looking nasty, who ain't teaching their kids anything, who can't even like pray. Like it's a lot of women who it can go both ways as far as like the point that you're making. It's some fine women out there, some beautiful women out there who are horrible as wives, who would not make good wives. But
Uh-huh.
because most men might be insecure about how they look and they want a trophy person on their arm, it is what it is. You can give me
Uh-huh.
the pastor
Uh-huh.
mouth all you want, but that's the truth.
All right. So there's Rachel and Leah. I don't need to say nothing else. Y'all better read y'all Bibles. Men have always been shallow. It is what it is. Stop fighting it. If you are not what most people consider attractive, you will not have as many
Okay, let's
options.
go
It
back to
just
the
is what it
garden
is.
then. Even in the serpent, Eve, the serpent, and Adam.
Listen,
Talk about
you
Leah and
can't
Rachel.
you can't like that's not even the only instance in the Bible. The truth of the matter is there's instances in the scriptures where the man want a certain woman because she looked good. And it's like she ain't even a good wife, but he prefers her because he fell in love with her because of how good she looked, because she was just fine. And the other one, she got the wisdom, she giving them the kids, and this fine one,
Okay,
she
so
just
let
fine.
me ask you this. So you have two women. This is I want you to
Uh-huh.
answer me this. One of them,
Okay.
she fine, like she got the shape, her hair is long, she got the complexion you want. She is
Uh-huh.
drop dead gorgeous, and that's all she can offer you. But the other one, she just cute. She ain't ugly, but she just cute. She
Uh-huh.
just cute, right?
Okay.
And she's not the shape that you want. She's not like in shape, but she's not like out of shape. She's not like morbidly obese. And she
More.
she can cook, she can clean, she's a good mother. You see how she is with kids. Your family is in love with her, like, oh my gosh, she's just so sweet, whatever. um she's very funny, she makes you laugh, she can read, she can pay a bill, like she's all the things. You telling me that you're gonna go after the person who's just drop dead gorgeous because she's drop dead gorgeous instead of picking the Rachel who's just decent in the face and decent in the shape? Come on now.
So when you say all she is drop, like she has nothing to offer,
Nothing to offer, just her
she got
looks.
some. So she's not intelligent. She has no conversation. She's not fun to be around. She's literally
Okay,
just
she's
fine.
not. I'm not gonna do her like that. Okay, she might have like a little bit of
Okay.
conversation, like, but you want a
Okay.
little bit more. But she just give you just a little bit, where it's like, okay, that's whatever. It's she's satisfied with the conversation, but you not fooled, right? So it's like I'm just satisfied, but I'm
Mm.
not fooled. She might crack a joke here and there. She funny every blue moon, was like, oh babe, that was funny. And then like 8 months later, she ain't funny. It's like she funny once a year. You know what I'm saying? It's like she
Wow.
has very little
Wow.
bit of what you want. but the other person has everything you want, but she just not that easy on the eyes.
So wait, you said she was cute.
Okay, she cute. I'm gonna give you that. She cute.
Okay. So for me,
You laughing
if it
because
was me, no, this is funny. If it was me, I'll take the cute chick with everything else. Um, I used to go to Westchester High for like a year and a half.
okay,
And back in the day, Westchester was known for having like the best looking girls of all the high schools in LA,
okay,
right? Anybody that's grew up in LA, any black person I should say that grew up in LA in the 80s and 90s, Westchester had that reputation. So I remember Pastor Swansea, all his daughters went to Westchester, and I remember they used to have some bad friends. I was like, oh my God. And they all went to Westchester. So I'm thinking, like, when I went to Westchester, I'm like,
it's on.
ooh, wee. So when I got there, it did not disappoint. There were some bad girls at Westchester. But then as I, you know, got into the swing of things as far as just being a student there and getting there every day and going to class and everything, you start having conversations with these girls. Mind you, I'm 14, 15 at the time. And it's just like you realize looks is not everything,
Everything.
right?
Exactly.
Looks aren't look that's it's not everything. And there were some girls, like I remember there was this girl I had a Spanish class and she was attractive. Like I thought she was very attractive. And she used to just get on my nerves.
Hmm?
And I could tell she was used to getting attention because when I wouldn't give it to her, she started doing stuff to upset me, or just bothering me. And I'm like, and I remember one time I just turned around and said, man, will you leave me alone? It's like, yeah. And then she was like, I could tell she wasn't used to that. But it's like, dude, you're annoying. Like I don't
Mm.
care how fine you are, you're annoying. Right. So I think, like looks for me is not everything. It's a thing. It's important because I'm definitely not trying to be with a duck, but at the same time, it's not everything, and I'm not finna like date a dime just because she's hot and pass up a really really good woman who's solid.
But some of
She don't
these
have
men
to
be
be a
like
donkey.
too
Not for
much.
me.
Like, okay, we all know that. Let's just talk about you. You always say like, you're nice looking, but you think if if you were a different size, you'll get different play, right? So my whole thing is like, but you have some of these men out here who are just not cute, and it's like the audacity of you to have this list of how women should look, and your looks ain't it's trash. I'm just saying.
But see, that's the thing though. We all know that with men, if he got money, them looks don't matter as much.
And women, if she's ugly, I'm gonna just say this: it's no reason for a woman to be ugly. No woman can be ugly. With the makeup, the hair, the outfit, we have a lot to enhance the beauty. So,
Right.
but with men, you can't. If you ugly, you ugly. It's just it is what it is. So, anyway, going back to the standards. So I believe this young lady standards is way too high. I feel like on the first date, like you said, going back to like it should be about conversation. If the end goal is to be married, you should be very strategic when it comes to getting to know somebody. You need to know the person. You need to know the person because people switch it up. And then the crazy thing is, even when you know the person, as you get older, you evolve, things happen, your mind changes. Even if you're still with that person, you're not who you were at 20 at 40 years old. So people are constantly changing, right? So it's like you need to know that person because you don't know. People switch it up. People switch it up. You don't know if you're gonna be divorced at the end of it or not. We pray that divorce is not the thing, but you need to get to know that person. Her standards is way too high, especially for a first date. So I'm gonna just say, ladies, on your first date, don't expect too much. And then some women even said, when can we start treating our men? How many dates does it take for a woman to say, you know what, babe, I got it this time. I got you. I'm gonna treat you, babe. Let's go out. Is that doing too much,
Uh,
women? Part 15. Because I'm sure we're gonna come back to this one later on in the seasons.
from a man's perspective, no, it's not doing too much. I actually appreciate it. Like the woman I've been seeing recently, um, like so one of the things was we met online or whatever, and or yeah, we were talking, and I was like, all right, well, I'm about to go out of town, and I'm gonna be gone for like a week. I said, let's meet before I go out of town, right? Because we probably won't be talking that much while I'm out of town and everything. So let's meet up. So, we don't have that big lapse and it's not as awkward when I come back. She was like, at first she was like, well, no, I want to get my hair done and I want to do. I said, come on, man, like it ain't that serious. It's just we can just keep it simple. And she was like, okay. So we'll just meet up at a Starbucks so you don't have to spend a lot of money. And I was like, okay. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like you speaking my language. I was like, okay. And
Yes.
so we ended up we met up at the little walk path at the beach. We sat on the benches. I brought coffee. I said, look, I'll stop at Starbucks. We'll just meet up there. And I got coffee and we sat up there and we just talked. We ended up talking for like 3.5 hours.
That's a lot of
And that's
talking.
all we did.
That's a lot of
It
talking.
is, but I can run my mouth. So that's all we did was talk, right? And it was like, all right, cool. And so then, as we've been going out, like the last time we went out, she was like, oh, I want to take you out this weekend. I was like,
Okay. So wait a minute. She
word?
want a coffee
For
date
real?
and she want to take you out. That's two. Two.
For real though, what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. So we go. She took me out to dinner, and then she was like, "Oh, let's get dessert from somewhere else." And I said, "Oh, it's the spot right here." We went to the dessert spot. She was like, "No, I got that too." I'm like,
Okay. Hold on. So is this
you
the
know what I'm
first? Is
saying?
this so? These two.
Now I took her out. I took her out first. Like
Okay, because I was
I
gonna say
I
these
paid
first two
all the
dates
other.
just the first
No,
initial.
these
Okay.
that's not. That was like the. I think that was like the third time we had been out.
Okay.
But I paid the. I had paid before.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna be honest. I don't mind paying, but I was also raised to be like that. You know what I'm saying? I've there was a point when I was not comfortable allowing a woman to pay for me.
Mm.
So now it's like, well, shoot, I appreciate it, but there was a point when I wasn't even comfortable with it. But I was raised that, when you take a woman out as a man, you pay.
Right.
So, but that can get very expensive too. So you kind of have to, if as a guy, if you're going to be paying for dates, because there are some women out here that ain't paying.
Same
They
pain.
just they not paying. They not gonna offer. Because to them, they're the prize. They're the catch. That's not part of courting. It's like, all right. But I really feel like um a lot of men are going to appreciate things like that. Now, I'm not suggesting that a woman has to do it all the time or that you have to go 50-50. I'm not suggesting all that. But it is nice when a woman offers to do something nice for you instead of it always being
Them take,
the other
take,
way
take.
around.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest, I don't do well with women that take. It's an issue, right? For me, it's like there comes a point when we're talking, if I'm dating a woman, where I'm gonna break my pattern. I'm not gonna text you first. I'm not gonna call you first because I've already been doing that. I'm gonna let you show me, hey, if I don't text or call you, is she gonna text or call me? That's gonna
Oh,
give me
okay.
some kind of that's
See,
gonna give me some sort of an indication as to how interested she is. Because it's like if I always have to initiate, and then you're always taking and never giving, that's not gonna work for
so we're
me.
gonna have to do a separate show because I have a lot of questions when it comes to that. Um,
Okay.
when is thirsty thirsty? because I feel
See,
like
that let's
I,
throw that terminology out of there. That's not thirsty.
but I'm gonna just say this. It's just so weird to me. I feel like most men, I feel like to me, it seems aggressive when a woman does all the calling, the texting, whatever, because for some reason, it's like men push back from that. So, see, now this is turned into like a whole hour show. I
We
feel,
knew this was gonna happen.
I feel like when it
We knew
comes
this
to
was
the
gonna happen.
texting part, and maybe it's just me because I'm an overthinker when it comes to certain things, it's like I don't mind the texting first and the calling first, but when is it a turn off? Like when am I doing too much? Because I feel like it's weird. Like it's like sometimes men don't like to be chased, but then at the same time they want to be chased. So if I'm chasing you, it's like, well, she's taking my manhood, or whatever the case may be, or she's being extra, she's being thirsty. But if I'm not saying anything to you, it's like you want to be all up on me. But as soon as I get close to you, it's like a fish hook. Like you don't want me to want you, but then when I fall back, it's like, where you at, babe? Like it's just the confusion, the confusion.
So I feel like, okay, here's my 2 cents. And you and I have discussed this before. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman, like, let's say, opening the door to conversation, right? Um, but women, and I'm saying this to women specifically, you have to be careful about your level of aggression. I feel like a lot of men, I'll even take the liberty of saying most men don't want a woman that is overly aggressive, pushy, etc. Now, when I said what I said, it's like it's just a point where I'm trying to gauge her interest,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Now, this isn't like something I do early on necessarily, but then again, early is relative. It might be a month in, right? Maybe a couple months or whatever. If I've been calling you consistently, we've been going out consistently, I might break protocol just to see what you do.
Got
Right.
it.
And I'm doing this intentionally. It's a test. Now people may not agree with that, but that's what I do. Now I don't the women don't know that. But that's what I do, right? And it's just like, and this is something that I'll do if I'm still at that point questioning her level of interest, right? Um, but women have to be careful about how they do that. I would not suggest a woman being doing the majority of the texting, the calling, because it's generally the woman who wants the relationship. I read something on a dating profile, and one of the things the woman said was she felt like women control sex, but men control relationships.
Mm,
And I was like, yeah, that's valid because men want the sex and women want the relationship.
mm-hmm,
And it's like, okay, you want sex, give me a relationship. Okay, you want a relationship, give me sex. And a lot of times it boils down to who gets who first, who gets what they want first, right?
mm-hmm.
But women do have to be careful. Like the homie, who will remain nameless, one of my very good friends, he expressed to me how he doesn't like when a woman is like very aggressive and like chases after him. And he was talking about how a sister in the church was like going real hard, after him, and it just turned him off.
Mm,
And now I don't think she was his type. He definitely has a type. He's married to his type. But um I was like, yeah, like I'm listening to the stuff she was doing and thinking like, that wouldn't have bothered me. I'd have been like, cool.
mm-hmm.
But he didn't like that. A lot of men don't like a woman that is aggressive, and again, that could be a personality thing. Like a woman that's aggressive only bothers me if it comes to a point of pushiness, right? If she's just aggressive in the sense like, oh, I can tell you what I want and don't want, but she's not pushy with how she deals with me,
Right.
then that's cool. I can deal with your aggressiveness. Like it's not a big deal to me, but don't be pushy with it. Like if we get married, I'm gonna be the head of the house. I'm gonna be, I'm not a dictator. I feel like we're gonna work hand in hand and all that good stuff. But if you and I can't come to an agreement, then as the head of the household before God and man, I'll make the executive decision and I'll expect you as my wife to be supportive. And if I fail, then
The
I'll
Lord
take the
short you.
responsibility,
Right.
right? Yeah. So, but that's just me. I think everybody is different. Relationships, marriage, dating, it's not one size fits all. There are some women that are going to be like, nope, I'm not going to a cheesecake factory. And you know what? If you look like she looks and you really feel that way, then you're probably going to be single for the rest of your life, and that's okay.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I mean,
Dig.
here, let me tell you why. And this is, and you and I have had these conversations before, and like I've been saying, like, and not to bring him up because whatever, but one thing Kevin Samuels ain't never did was tell y'all women no lie. And it's like these men that can afford these things that a lot of these women like her want, they have so many options.
Absolutely.
And if I have all the options, I am not going for average.
Right.
I'm just not. It's like you're at like the question you posed earlier. Now, if she's just a bad chick and that's all that matters to me, and it's like that matters more than anything else to me. And if I can have that, then that is what I'm going to have because I have all the options. It's like if you have all the options, you're going to choose the cream of the crop. Why wouldn't you? If I am
That's
filthy
true.
rich, I'm probably not driving a Camry, right?
Right.
Because and the thing is, and we both drive
Right.
Camrys, but it's like Camrys are amazing vehicles. Like Toyotas in general are like the second most reliable cars after a Lexus. But how many rich people do you see driving Lexuses and
Right.
Toyotas? They're driving much more expensive vehicles. And so it's like, look, if it's like just because you paid 250 for that Bentley Flying Spur doesn't mean it's going to last you any longer than my Camry is going to last me. But that's a status symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times these men want status symbols, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, look what I could do. Look what my money and my influence and all that. Look what it got me. It got me somebody that you can't get. And some men, that's good enough. Some men don't care about anything else because I got everything. I just want somebody that's going to fit in my life and stand next to me and look good and not embarrass me. And for real, that's what's if some of these men, if they got it like that, then that's what I'm saying. That's what it's going to
It's
be.
funny you said that
Then
because okay, so we have a friend. I'm not going to mention her name, but I haven't talked to her in some years now. But she looks a particular kind of way, and she wants this man that it's not realistic for her. And I was looking like, sis, the type of man that you want, and it made me look at myself too, like she's doing too much because the type of man that she wants is not gonna look her way at all. And it's not even to throw shade. It's just like you don't have it together. You don't even wear an earring. Like he's not gonna look your way. So it made me look at myself too. Like, am I doing that? Am I that woman who be like, this is the kind of man I want? But it's like, sis, how do you look? Are you
I,
qualified? Are you qualified for that person? Right? So not that to say I'm lowering my standards, but it's like, let's be realistic, Shay. And it has nothing to do with about what you bring to the table. I'm just talking about just on the physical aspect of it. On the physical aspect of it is like, I want this type of person. Do I have the nerve to even desire that person? Will that person even look my way? And the only reason why I would say it's like a 50-50 chance that person may look my way, because I've seen it. I've seen women who look like me and they have the kind of man that I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I can get that kind of person or whatever. So I get it. The can't and I was so against the Kevin Samuels, but when you broke it down, it's like Shay. These women who want these executives are not executive material. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. So it's like, okay, if your standards is, if you up here and your standards is up here, it's like, come on, sis. And vice versa. If the woman is up here and the man's down here, it's like, bruh, you have no chance with her. So let's align our standards. Hallelujah. Let's align our standards. Because that's what the show is about. Is your standards too high? Let's align our standards. You want a man who makes six figures, but you're very bad with money and you have $5 in the bank. Let's align our standards.
So I had just watched a video like maybe a day or two ago, and it was the late great Kevin Samuels, right? And he actually made and it wasn't a video. I think it was an older video, but it was actually to men, and or I believe it was to men. It could have been to women too, but he said something. I was like, that's actually very interesting, and I thought it was a good point. He was saying the gist of what he said was if you want or you like a particular person or type of person and you're not what that type of person generally goes for, take yourself out of the game. He said take yourself out of the game for like a year or so. He said get yourself together. He said get in the gym, lose that weight, get in shape, start going to school, do whatever, start figuring out your purpose, your meaning in life, like what you all about. Take a year off and then get yourself into a better place and in a better position so that you can have what you want.
Mm.
And it's like a lot of times, like I was listening to somebody and they were talking about like with, the whole Cheesecake Factory chick, they were talking about how it's like, why is it always these average looking or below average looking women that have all these ridiculous demands? Like you don't hear, the bad ones saying this a lot of times. It's a lot of times it's these regular chicks that's out here talking crazy. And it's just like, dude, it's like, how about you, like you said, go get yourself together and then come back strong so you can start having what you think you want.
Mm.
Now you may get what you think you want, and you don't want it, but if money is all that matters and the men that have money look for XYZ, then go be XYZ and then you can get the man with the money. But sometimes it's not as always as simple as, how you look. There's some, I mean, sometimes it's circumstantial, like that list. There are certain things that men don't
Don't
want to
deal
deal
with.
with. Single mothers, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you got kids, a lot of women, a lot of men, I'm sorry, a lot of men don't want to deal with another man's children. Now, I think some of that gets blown out of proportion, but I think as a man gets older, I do think unless he's just going to talk to strictly younger women without children, I think as you get older, that's kind of one of those things. It's like,
You got to accept that
that can be a
because,
preference,
right,
but it's going to make your dating pool smaller.
right.
Now I know personally, um, my preference is a woman without children. Now I've dated women with children, um, but I've also had issues dating women with children. I've had to, I had to beat one baby daddy up. Now that was a long time ago.
It's
Yeah,
under the
yeah.
blood. Hallelujah.
My daughter's her mother's her big sister's dad was acting a fool and he pushed her mom and her and I were together at the time and I had to go put hands on him.
Mm.
And there was another
Ooh,
situation
brother,
years
shout.
later when I, there was another situation years later where I was dating a woman who had issues with her ex-husband. And, I basically told her if he's still there when I get off work and I'm coming over, I'm not talking. And
Ooh,
fortunately for me, the police got involved. And so when I got there, it was nothing I could do, or else I would definitely have been going to jail.
right.
But it was funny because one of the brothers from church was actually one of the cops on the
Was
scene,
my
and
cousin?
I jump out the car, huh?
I said, was it my cousin?
I No, 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 no. But I jump out the car ready to fight, and then I see the cops, and he's like, "Man, Joey." I was like, "Oh man," we both start laughing. But so I've had those situations, and then there's also for me the issue of dating women with children, and then you get attached to the children, and then if
Mm.
y'all don't work out, you have these attachments, but it's like you lose the
With the
relationship with the kids a
kids,
lot of
right.
times. So it's tough. and then there are a lot of single mothers out there that and dang, we on way off topic, but it's a lot of single moms out there that put their kids in a position where the man is always going to play second fiddle, and I ain't trying to play second fiddle to your kids forever. So that's a dub for me. It's like, nah, I'm good. But again, there was a point when I said, nah, I ain't dating a chick with no kids. And I remember moms and my sister would be like, how you gonna say you ain't gonna date somebody with kids and you got a child
Right.
and da da da. I'm like, because I can. Like, like I can do what I want. So at the end of the day, y'all can do what y'all want. You know what I'm saying? Now it's consequences to what you want. It's that you hold your standard way up here. What you're doing is you're shrinking your dating pool.
There we go.
But if you want a small exclusive dating pool, best of luck to you.
Right.
Best of luck to you. You know, but again, I feel like focus on what matters. Focus on, um, you know, conversation. Getting to know that person. And again, especially early on, the less involved the date is. And let me give an example of that. Even if we're just at dinner, right? Especially if it's a place I've never been. I'm reading the menu. I'm trying to decide what I want to eat. I'm concerned with how do I look when I eat in front of this person? Or she might be concerned with, oh, I don't want to look greedy, or I don't want to do, or should I order this? And so all of it, and then when the food comes to the table, I'm eating. Oh, I don't want to get too messy. I don't want to look too greedy. I don't want to do. You're thinking about everything else, but you're not focused solely
On the
on
person.
that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like and it's like, let's say, oh well, we can just go hiking, right? We can talk while we hike,
Out
yeah.
of breath.
But then y'all out of breath and you looking raggedy and you're not putting your best foot
Sweating.
forward and
Mm-hmm.
you sweating and you probably gonna start stanking. And it's like, again, the less involved a date is or a meetup or whatever you want to call it, the more conducive it is to conversation. And conversation is critical, especially in the early stages where you're figuring out who this person is and what they're really about and what they want. And ladies, let me tell y'all like this, with respectfully, shut up.
Mm.
Let that man talk. Make that man talk. If you have to bring up the Lakers or the Raiders or the Cowboys or something that this man might be interested in and you hate it, but you got to listen to this man just to get him comfortable and open up, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Get that man to start talking. Get him comfortable, because the more comfortable he gets, the more he talks, the more he's going to tell you who he is, what he's about, and what he wants. So yeah,
Drop
that's my
mic.
2 cents.
So on that note, wrapping it up, ladies, learn how to be quiet so you can learn these men. Lower your
Respectfully.
standards, because cheesecake, it ain't nothing wrong with no cheesecake factory. Y'all doing too much. And I'm praying. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna pray for that young lady, because, like you said, her dating pool is gonna be very small because she's being ridiculous. And I'm praying. Ooh, I hope it's like a Cinderella moment for this man. Like on his next date, like he has like even a badder chick, and then like he just spoil her, and like she just roll up in her like G wagon. She looking real crazy out here, like in these streets. So I'm praying for that man too. Like, oh Lord bless him, just because she was acting crazy. So we're gonna continue this dating series because I'm sure you guys are gonna be interested in it. The next topic, Joy, I want to talk about, why aren't the men chasing anymore? Amen.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
get your
Okay.
mind right, because I have questions. All right.
Okay.
All right,
You got
y'all.
questions? I've got answers.
Yes. That is it. Use Your Power podcast. We love y'all. Have a blessed and marvelous night.
God bless y'all.
Bye.